now go to our regular meeting. The chair will call case number 008968, 2 Arrow Street. Anyone here who should be heard in this matter? I am not going to be sitting on this case. I'm recusing myself, so Mr. Myers is going to sit in my place. And Mr. Sullivan will be the chair.
Introduce yourself for the record and present the case.
Good evening. My name is Diane Gray, D-I-A-N-E-G-R-A-Y, Harvard University.
Annette Duclos, A-N-N-E-T-T-E, D-U-C-L-O-S.
Harvard University is seeking a variance to operate a retail establishment Looks in an Office 3 district, which is in the Harvard Square Overlay District. The area of the request is a ground floor space of approximately 1,071 square feet located at 2 Arrow Street. This board shows the space. This is, can everyone see? 2 Arrow Street, this is Mass Ave. And this is the space that we're talking about tonight, which have 4 floor-to-ceiling windows. And it's located in a retail area of Massachusetts Avenue and Harvard Square. The relocation of Looks, which is a locally owned women's clothing boutique, moving from Holyoke Street to Arrow Street, will enliven the space, the sidewalk, and the street, adding to this vibrant retail area of Harvard Square. I have a board which shows the many retail uses in the area of the location in question. Looks has been in Harvard Square for 40 years and is currently located in the Smith Campus Center, which is about to undergo a renovation. The project has been reviewed by the Harvard Square Advisory Committee and the Planning Board, which both positively endorsed the proposal. And there should be letters in the file, and I have extra copies if you don't have the letters. Also, there are 20 letters of support on file. We're seeking this variance under CZO section 20.54.3 for the Harvard Square Overlay District related to retail establishments in office districts allowed by special permit. These regulations offer flexibility in districts where retail uses are not permitted. They allow by special permit the use of a structure for retail if certain conditions are met. This building was constructed in 2003, but the requirements relate to buildings constructed prior to 1985, so we don't meet that condition. So while we meet nearly all the criteria for special permit, we're not eligible due to the age of the building. A literal enforcement of the zoning code does not allow the retail uses in the Office 3 district, but the space is within the bustling Mass Ave retail corridor, and this use would support the goals of the overlay district. In 2003, the special permit decision noted that the ground floor had the potential to accommodate a wide range of uses. It noted that there was institutional, office, retail, and residential uses in the facility. When it was built, and I'll go back to the space. This is the space in question here. This is the space in question. There's a theater on the ground floor, and this space was meant to be office support space for the offices above, but it was never really used. And so it's basically been unused for 10 years. The granting of the variance would allow Looks to remain in Harvard Square and fill this ground space with a vibrant business that serves a wide range of demographic in Cambridge. And the floor-to-ceiling windows work very well for a retail store. So at this point, I'm going to pass it off to Annette, who's the owner of Looks.
So I am here to petition for the right to release the variance that does not allow retail. And the reason I love this space is because it is in an area that has more independently owned stores, and I am being forced out of the space that I'm in now because of the renovation of the Holyoke Center. I've been there for 8 years in 2 other locations in Harvard Square for a total of, I've owned the store for 8 years, but I worked for the previous owner for 10 years. And the store itself has been in Harvard Square for 33 years. It's one of the only independently owned stores that is as close to Harvard Square as you can get. Because you can't, I tried to find space in Harvard Square, and it's impossible with the rents. The rents now just don't allow any independently owned businesses to exist. The big box stores, Urban Outfitters, banks, credit cards, institutions are all able to pay the rents, but it's changing the environment of Harvard Square so drastically that I think pretty soon it won't attract tourism. So I need to find a space, and Harvard has offered me this space, and the only way that I can get the space is if the zoning for office is removed. The space that exists there now is empty and not being used for any reason. So I feel as though a vital retail space in that office area would add to the location, and I have letters from customers, loyal customers. I have more than 20 letters that have been written between December 22nd and today that support the decision to move to this space, and I hope that you agree that it's the right decision.
Your hours, days of operation?
Open every day, 10 till 6, Thursday until 7, and Sunday 12 to 5.
Okay. Anything else that you'll get a chance at the end to comment if you wish.
Just happy to answer questions if you have
Yeah,
any.
any questions from members of the board at this time?
This is exactly the type of use that should be in this space. Ground floor, retail space that's sat vacant for 10 years. This is a perfect use, I think, for this space in this particular area with so many other retail businesses within literally a 1-block radius. So,
Yeah, it's a lovely building. It was a well-intentioned building. There's one void in it, which I guess you want to fill.
Right.
All right, let me open it to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak on the matter? Councilor?
Thank you. Dennis Carlone, 9 Washington Avenue. I was a consultant to the city for 30 years in urban design and architectural issues to the planning board, and I was thrilled to hear what both of you had to say, because that's exactly right. The building is just slightly off Mass Avenue, but actually is visible, as you all know, from Mass Avenue. My family lived on Remington Street, which is on the other side of Mass Avenue, so we've known the site intimately and remember it as a parking lot. And it appears that the building was designed to have retail. If you look at the facade, a grand or important purpose was meant to be at the first floor and not what is in there now. And as was alluded to by Annette, the dedicated clientele she has will follow her to this location and actually take what's a dark corner now and begin to animate it very well. And it just, as you know the zoning better than I do, the zoning on the other side of Arrow Street allows retail. And and retail up the block on Mass Avenue. It's just this little corner, and this corner actually forms a square. This building helps form a square at Arrow and Mass Ave. So this building is very, very visible, and clearly I don't have to convince you of the rationale and the likelihood that this will actually help even the theater's presence, having an animated use there in many hours of the day. So I encourage you to proceed favorably.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on the matter? Yes, yeah.
My name is Mary Canning, and I own Follow the Honey at 1132 Mass Avenue. And I'm here to speak on my behalf, as well as Mary Taylor, who owns Salt and Olive right around the corner on Mass Avenue. We're delighted to learn that, fingers crossed, that Annette will be joining us. I'm also a homeowner that lives right around the corner at Hancock Street. My daughter was born 30 years ago at Mount Auburn Hospital. I've been in Boston, going through school and working since 1979. And I've walked thousands of times up and down this avenue and watched the character of Harvard Square change. As someone who's making a go of it at a retail space right next door to where looks will conceivably be, we've been kind of like a little anchor retail establishment now for 4 years. We just won Best Green Business Cambridge, so we're sort of, we're revitalizing that little area there, which has been kind of in the shadows. And then with Mary Taylor coming on a year and a half ago, another woman-owned business, and all of us working in concert with each other as small businesses to, not only create profitability, but to create sort of a really community-based retail space that gets to what the heart of Harvard Square was when I came here in '79. So anyway, I'm just here to vote in favor.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Denise?
Thank you. Good evening. Denise Jolson, DENISE, JILLSON, the Executive Director of the Harvard Square Business Association. And Lux is a longtime member of the association, and we're here tonight to give our overwhelming support. This is an exciting time for us because, as Mary said, we've been working with Salt and Olive and Follow the Honey and Zinnigan's and Berry Line, as well as Boston Burger and Zoe's in that area to really create what we're calling the bow and arrow district of the Harvard Square Business Association, because sometimes it's difficult to get people down that street, and they're trying so hard as independent businesses to really create a vibrant and robust community there. So we think that with the addition of Lux, it will give people one more reason to come down. And we're working really hard to create events to bring people into that area. So we hope that the board approves this. We think it's a fabulous use of that space, and look forward to working with Annette. And we call them Mary Squared, Mary Taylor and Mary Canning. But it's been terrific the past year since Salt and Olive opened. We've seen this really. Mary has been holding the fort basically with all her little bees down there. And this is just a great addition. So we're excited, and we hope that you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? I see nobody else. I will, for the record, there are some 20-plus letters in support. I will read one as to represent the rest from a Kate Williams. I would like to offer my support for the Lux Clothing Store and their continued presence in Harvard Square. I'm a local resident and fully encourage the independent stores that are located in Harvard Square and surrounding area. With the addition of more chain stores and big banks, the feel and energy of Harvard Square is changing. I've been a customer of Lux for 15 years and have always found well-made quality clothes that are the backbone of my wardrobe. Lux will continue to attract new and old customers from all over the state and beyond, and add a beautiful shopping environment to Harvard Square. And that is typical of the other letters in support. The board also notes correspondence from the planning board. The planning board reviewed the use variance application for the relocation of an existing and long-established clothing shop within Harvard Square. This building was granted a planning board special permit for the Harvard Square Overlay District in 2003. The planning board reviewed looks plans and overwhelmingly supports the ground floor retail use at this location along Arrow Street, which has active retail uses. The ground floor space has been vacant for many years and has never been used as an office or any other active use. If the building had been constructed before 1985, the planning board could have granted a special permit for the retail use. No new construction is anticipated and the facade will remain the same. Correspondence from the Harvard Square Advisory Committee. The summary, Diane Gray from Harvard Planning presented the application materials in support of the use variance for a women's clothing store. This retailer looks has been in Harvard Square and Harvard University tenant for 40 years and is currently located in the Smith Campus Center, which is about to undergo extensive renovation. Many letters were submitted in support of the variance. No letters of opposition were submitted. Arrow Street contains a mixture of uses, office as well as retail. A motion was made and seconded to support the application for the use variance to allow the relocation of a long-term retail establishment to the ground floor of the theater building. The committee suggested that appropriate level energy-efficient lighting be utilized to animate the storefront during the evening. The windows should be used for display and kept into the store to preserve an active line of sight. Should be kept open into the store to preserve an active line of sight. The proposal meets the intent of the guidelines of the Harvard Square Overlay District. There was a need for preserving long-term retailers in Harvard Square. There will be no change to the building facade other than a signage as allowed under Section 7. This particular area contains a mixture of uses, including stores and restaurants and other customer service establishments. All members in attendance supported the motion. And there was also correspondence from Mary, founder and CEO, Follow the Honey. Some substance of correspondence. I'll close public comment. Anything else that you would like to add?
Nothing added.
What else can I say that'll... Okay. I will close presentation part. Is there any comment by the members of the board?
I just would say it's a tremendous business that people have followed for 4 changes of location that I've known for not their choice, but just one thing after another. And it's always has customers. I know you'll be good for that corner.
I fully agree. I think it's the right use, and commend you for being an independently owned business in Harvard Square. It's not easy.
Right.
I just say I think you should have the space, and I hope the space is right for you and beneficial for you.
Let me make a motion then to grant the relief requested, which would be a variance to convert an empty office meeting space to a retail establishment at the location. The board finds that a literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would involve a substantial hardship to the petitioner because it would severely limit the property owner's ability to fully utilize the space in a manner desirable and compatible to the surrounding area, which is a mixed-use neighborhood with the majority of buildings having a mix of retail and or consumer service uses on the ground floor. The proposal before the board, although not permitted in Office 3 district, would not be incongruous to the district and in fact would add to the variety of retail uses in the adjoining property. The board finds that the hardship is owing to the fact that the building, which was built in 2003, was carefully designed to respond to the existing pedestrian and urban environment, contains a 300-seat theater, a gem at the end of this end of Harvard Square, being part of the ART, and approximately 24,000 square feet of office space. This 1,100 square foot of office space is distinct from and separated from the main part of the office use. But well-intentioned, the space has no relationship or easily communicating with either the theater or the upper floors of the office space, and as such, results in a grossly underutilized and vacant space for approximately 10 years. The granting of the relief from the ordinance would relieve the burden of this dark space in an otherwise very attractive building. The board finds that desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. The board notes that the proposal is compatible with and complements existing uses in the area, adds to the variety of retail establishments, and as the many correspondence, 21-plus letters of support submitted, support from the planning board and from the Harvard Square Advisory Committee, the proposed establishment is an existing valued member of the Harvard Square community for over 40 years. It serves the public interest to fill in this current long-standing void with an active and attractive retail business. The board finds that relief may be granted without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent and purpose of the ordinance. The board notes that the locus is within the Harvard Square overlay district. The district has a set of goals that encourage active ground floor uses, a pedestrian-oriented environment, and support of a diversity of uses serving the needs of surrounding neighborhoods, students, and visitors. As noted in the zoning ordinance 20.52, it is the purpose of the overlay district to augment existing zoning regulations to respond to unique problems and pressures for change particular to the Harvard Square area, including enhancing the unique functional environment and visual character of Harvard Square. The additional flexibility in the zoning is intended to facilitate the protection and character of Harvard Square, while not unreasonably limiting the opportunities for appropriate contemporary changes to the in-place environment of Harvard Square area. The regulation of the Harvard Square Overlay District offers flexibility for retail uses in districts where retail uses are not permitted. The zoning ordinance 20.54.3 allows by special permit the retail use of a structure in the Harvard Square Overlay District if certain conditions are met. As testimony has shown, one area that this particular locus does not meet is the age of the building, built after 1985. The board finds that in 2003, the planning board granted a special permit to the project with conditions and alluded to its potential future use as a more active street-level use. As noted in the 2003 findings, the theater was built within a heterogeneous environment of buildings and uses. The decision at that time noted, page 6, particularly on its Arrow Street side, the design introduces an engaging and accessible ground floor that has the potential to accommodate a wide range of pedestrian-friendly activities in the years ahead. The decision also noted on page 14 that the site is surrounded by a range of institutional, office, retail, and residential uses. Numerous retail stores, small and moderately sized restaurants, and upper-story offices and residential uses occur in the immediate vicinity of the site. Hence, the board finds that in light of the aforementioned facts, the granting of this variance is a fair and reasonable relief from the ordinance. All those in favor of accepting those findings? 5 in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.